Hello and welcome to another Talking To episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Aiden.
And today we're going to be talking about the TMNT 2003 Season 1 Episode 22, The Return to New York Part 2. So, what do you think about this episode briefly?
Well, you know me by now, Ted. I cannot put things into brief sentences. This episode was it was a decent episode, I think. It was a very different episode to what we're used to, and it was just action packed and crazy. Like even now, I still can't even comprehend what happened in this episode, but we'll get down to it soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that this episode was really unique with some of its fights, and especially some of the characters in this in this episode. And I do think that it worked for the most part, and yeah, again, it was just like really action-packed, and I think it worked for the most part. I do think like maybe there's some bits in there that are just like, okay, they could have improved upon that, but overall, it's just a great action episode. Okay, so first start off with the turtles fighting the Shredder clones. So what do you think about that scene?
Well, that scene was kind of interesting. We just saw some different characters and we got to see their abilities and see them in action. I just got a shout out to the Diddy Shredder, the like little guy Shredder, or Shrimp Shredder as he's most commonly known in the community. Just seeing him around and he was just one of those characters that you're never going to forget. Like he's just running around. He's just got his little blades and he's literally just a Diddy Shredder. Like literally, he's so little Diddy. He's so tiny. And he's just one of those characters, that's just going to be like, oh, it's Diddy Shredder, it's little Diddy Shredder. So, but yeah, I just loved how he just scampered around the environment and just attacked the turtles. It was just kind of cool just to see him walk around. And of course, we got the other characters as well. We got Forearms, and then of course we got Lobster, or as I like to call him, Mr. Krabs, or Shredder Krabs, or whatever you want to call it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I do think that overall this fight scene here, I think that it was like really great to see the new characters come in and just do their own thing. I felt like that was like really great to see, and I do think that with the shredders, I felt like that was like a really cool concept, which I do think they use to their full abilities. I will say this with, I mean, it's not really much of a spoiler, but like this is like their only episode which they're really in, and they never come back. So I do think that like what we did get was enough, but I wish that we did get to see a lot more of them. But like even when talking about the actual shredders themselves, I felt like they were like really interesting and had like a nice variety to things instead of just just being the normal shredder, and did add like a new like state to everything, which I found was really great. But I do think that in saying that, they've also built a little bit part of the actual fight itself. I just felt as though that something about it was just a bit off in terms of the fact that it should have, like, all the fights didn't really feel like they were even, just because you had the little shrimp shredder fighting Neo and Rav, but then you got a big strong forearm shredder fighting Mikey and Donnie, and all of them holding their own evenly against each other. So I found like the power balance to be like really off between all of them. And then you got Splinter fighting the crab shredder, claw shredder, whatever it is. I found that to be like really off in terms of the fighting thing, but like it still did make for like a pretty decent battle. And then like even in saying that, like how they were defeated as well was also a bit weird. Just got, I mean, just because at one point you got the forearm shredder was taken down by a glass container. So again, like I do feel as though that bit there was just like a little bit off in terms of how they did things, but not bad. And then also like some other little things in here was the fact that Donnie's staff should have broken when he was hanging onto the edge. Just like a little bit like that. But yeah, so after that, we do get the turtles going over to the elevator, and they do go up in the elevator. Hudden shoots the claw shredder. What do you think about those scenes?
The elevator scene, that was really interesting. because it was very different, and just to see the turtles clinging on to the rope for dear life as they've cut the rope, and of course the bad guys, they fall to the floor in a fiery explosion, and they're all dead, obviously, because no one could survive that. But yeah, I just really enjoyed just watching that scene and how it was. I'm not too sure how to describe it. It was one of those like classical bad guy scenes in movies in which like the guy's on the elevator, he says sayonara, cuts the cord, the bad guys fall to their death, and then of course the good guys get to their destination. It was just really really cool to see that again, because I don't see many movies like that, many scenes like that in episodes. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, the elevator bit, there was like a few things in there that I would say that was just, like, felt like really weird in so many different ways. So, first of all, when Donnie's opening up the elevator, you just see him in the background just keep pressing the button. I don't know why he just kept pressing the button if he knew that the elevator was coming. I'm not complaining, it just felt like really weird that he just kept pressing the button. um, and yeah. And then when I got into the elevator and going through the shuriken, it landed on the door and electrocuted the two shredders. But one problem which I do have there, and I feel like you might have picked up on this, is that it probably should have electrocuted the turtles themselves because they was also standing inside the elevator. That's the only thing which I've got to say about that. Did you pick up on that?
Now that you say it, I did not think about that. I was just thinking, oh, the doors must be metal, so they got electrocuted. I didn't really think about that, of course. Um, oh gosh, now my brain's overthinking. Like, shouldn't they have been electrocuted? Why aren't they dead? Or what not? I'm just, oh, look what you've done, Teddy.
You're welcome. But yeah, I must admit, I know I really did enjoy the battle. I felt like it was like a really nice bit with the tails fighting the little the whole like Shredder gang. I do think that having the ending bit with them killed off in the elevator, it was good, but like, at the same time, I wish there was more to the Shredder stuff and all that. But at the same time, I'm not exactly too sure what they could have done. So yeah. Okay, so then going into the next scene, we do have the trap scene where the turtles and Must Winter go through a corridor full of traps. What do you think about that scene?
That scene, well, I wasn't really expecting it, to be honest. Like, it was an open room, it was so quiet, no one was there, and but Master Splinter, though, managed to pick up on it, which was really impressive. Like, he's super sense or sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, just picked up on the traps just like that. And to be honest, I didn't really have much to say, except that it kind of reminded me of like Indiana Jones, like on how he dodged past the saws, the darts, and everything else, the blood pits as well. Just this reminded me of Indiana Jones, that scene.
I, mean, I think like this scene was like, you know, it was okay. I felt, and it was decent, and it was turtley and stuff like that. I will say that the only thing that did feel quite weird in a way was the fact that it was like most people could sense those traps. That's the only thing that I found weird about it, but I did enjoy the rest of it, like Mikey dancing, stuff like that. It just felt like so turtles, but the most expensive thing was the only thing which I don't really understand all too well. But saying that, we did go into a really cool scene, the Foot Mystics and their whole battle. What do you think about that scene?
Yeah, that is the scene. Well, that is the scene that I wanted to get into today because this is the scene that really confused me. Like, I have so many questions about this one scene, and just how is that even possible? And who are these mysterious creatures or beings? Like, who are they? I was just so confused. So, like, are these aliens from another planet? Are these mystic elements from like Shredder's own doing? Are these more clones? Are these advanced? I just don't know. But yeah, what are they?
Um, okay, so the it's really hard to explain without spoiling stuff for the future, but the don't know because you don't really ever really get to hear a true answer for who they are, but basically they are like heralds of the Shredder. That's all I'm gonna really say about them. And like the thing is that even though they appeared in this episode and were defeated in this episode, they don't appear later until season 4. So that's when like they actually get really developed and actually become characters. I think like when they were introduced in this episode, they're more just introduced as just these like one-off type characters to be a threat for the turtles. I don't think there was ever really any plans for these characters or what they do with the future storylines. And but basically, all you need to know is that these are foot ninjas that have mystical powers of the world, basically. And that leads to that interesting battle scene. So what do you think about that battle scene?
Okay, so mystical foot ninjas. Well, that's a new one.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably like the best I can really say about exploring anything. But even though they don't really explain who or what they really are, that's like the best I can really say.
All right, sure thing. Well, to be honest, that was probably one of the coolest fight scenes in this episode alone because it was very different. Like the fighting, their tactics were different. Like seeing Ralph try and cut through the water, foot ninja or spirit, he couldn't kill it, and the earth one with Master Splinter, and the metal one with Mikey, and I'm not gonna lie, what was Mikey expecting to happen? He was just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna karate chop this guy and he's gonna go down. But no, he's made out of metal. It's kind of obvious in the name. He's the metal element. Like he's gonna be made out of metal.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that like some of the fights with some. I do want to say this now. The fight scenes were really amazing and fun, but I do think that like some of the ones which I paired them up with were a bit weird. So you've got Johnny fighting the fire one. I mean, that's a bit weird. Why have the turtle with a stick fight one with the fire? Um,
Yeah.
Raph fighting water, which was just pointless. I mean, I don't know what else they could have done, but at the same time, it's just when you really look into it, it's just like so stupid in a way, but it works.
Somehow it does.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do think that is just really amazing. Like the like visual elements because it's like so vastly different from all the other fight scenes we've seen up to this point in Turtles. Now using magical stuff, and I do like the elements of them actually using like fire, water, earth, and all that. I do think that's like a really I want to say like creative touch to it, but at the same time I know that it's not really because like all other shows use that kind of stuff. But I just found it really interesting that they use it in Turtles, and I think it worked really well. And then we get to Splinter using the Sword of Tengu to beat the Mystics. What did you think about that scene?
I wasn't expecting Master Splinter just to pull out the sword and use it against the spirits. Like I thought Leo was going to do that, to be honest, because he was the one who had the sword originally. And I thought, okay, Leo's going to use the sword, but no, Master Splinter decides to go all out, pick up the sword without the glove, which you need, and he burns his hands while defeating the enemies. Like that is probably one of the coolest parts of that fight scene. Like he just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna do this." Just picks up the sword and almost dies trying with it. Like the amount of power and energy coming from it was just almost too much to bear for him. But yeah, I really wasn't expecting it. I thought Leo was going to do the job, but no, Master Splinter had the idea. He took up the sword, burnt his hands badly in the process, and yeah, he survived somehow.
Yeah, it's amazing what he does, and I, I'm honestly speechless. It was really great what he did, and I found everything he did in that fight scene there to be really amazing. I just like how he like used the like the mystics to beat all them in terms of how the was it like the worth no, how the earth can suck up the water and the fire can melt the metal. I found that to be really interesting and just so really great. If not to mention that it was Moss Splinter using the sword of Tengu. Oh my god, that was just so amazing. And then to even like, I won't say that he still like made himself better than everyone else by saying that only a true master can wield it. I like it was really great, but at the same time, did feel like our character for Moss Winter, but still great in a way. And yeah. So then so going after that, we do get to see the Turtles go up in the elevator, and then they go into Shredder's throne room, and then that's when they have a rematch with the Foot Elite. What do you think about that fight scene?
I was not expecting that. Like the elite ninjas return after like fighting the Mystics. I thought, okay, this can't get any more crazier than it already is. Like we just fought against like mystical foot ninjas, and now we're fighting the elite again. Like kind of a downgrade to what we was dealing with originally, but it's all right. I can deal with it. But yeah, just seeing the elites come back again, that was pretty cool. And just seeing them back and defeating their enemies once again. And of course, we see Shredder once again leading his ninjas. And of course, Han is in this episode. I can't believe I didn't say this earlier about Han. But yeah, Han's in there now. He's fighting and seeing everyone. But yeah, it was a really crazy scene just to see everyone in the same room again. Of course, a couple of episodes back, we saw them fighting in April's shop, and they were all together. But now to see them once again back in New York, all together again, fighting the Shredder and Han and the Elite and everything else that they've come across, it was just awesome to see it back again.
Yeah, I do think that having Han was there was pretty interesting. But what do you think about the actual fight itself with the Turtles and also like the Foot Elite? Because I found it like really interesting with how Leo dealt with it all.
To be honest, I didn't really pick up on much. All I knew that the Turtles are back and Leo. Of course, Leo's going to do fight him alone, and of course that was pretty heroic and brave of him, of course. But to be honest, what comes next just beats it by storm, though. Like, sure, we've got Leo and everyone else there, and of course Leo's trying to be heroic, but what takes the cake by storm for me is what will happen next after Leo confronts Shredder. If you understand where I'm coming from, I don't want to spoil it because I want you to say it first.
Yeah, I know what B's talking about. I mean, I do think that like with this fight overall, I found it to be really great just seeing the Turtles go up against the Furley again. And I do think that, like there were like a little bit of which I was like sort of remembering from my childhood and be like, oh yeah, that's gonna say that bit again. And I must admit, I do really feel like a nerd now, where it's like, yep, that's gonna say rah after that little bit there, and so like, oh my god. But like with the Leo things in this episode, I found it to be really interesting to see like Leo sort of have a bit of fear in him. But like there was like some bits about Leo in this episode which I did really enjoy as well. So it's just like Leo having the arse of everyone after the defeat the Foot Mystics, and then even when going into the throne room, which is something which I really did enjoy, was the fact that that Raph said to Leo that basically they got him. I just really loved that bit, and then going into the actual fight itself was just amazing. And I just found like there's a lot of really great things about this fight scene as well as Leo. It was just perfect. But then we get to possibly one of the best scenes, if not the best scene in the episode. Baxter Stockman makes his return and sort of does a twist in it, and he has betrayed everyone and is going to kill them all. What did you think about that scene?
Now, this is the scene I wanted to get to. Like, this is what I've been holding up for right now. Well, I'm just gonna say it now before I just explode. Basically, I was super surprised when Baxter Stockman just comes out the floor in his giant mech suit and just appears out of nowhere. Like, sure, we knew he was planning something, but we wasn't too sure what he was planning until he just bursts out the floor in his like full-on mech suit with like Gatling guns, flamethrowers, what looks to be like a giant laser pointer. But it just looks so cool. And of course, then we find out Baxter Stockman's betraying everyone. He's betrayed like Shredder and Han, the Foot. Like he's finally taking his revenge. and he's gonna just kill everyone. And of course, he just leaves us on a real massive cliffhanger. And I'm like, you've got to be joking! Like, come on, just even like a couple of shots of the Gatling gun or laser, just to make the scene look a bit more chaotic, and then leave it. But no, we just get straight up cut off after Baxman comes out the floor, which I'm a bit disappointed in because I would just wanted to just to see a bit of action, just to see a bit of chaos. But no, I have to wait till next episode now.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Baxter's suit is like really cool and this looks really amazing. And I do know what he does have. I'm not going to spoil it, and it is amazing. And with what you see in next episode, you're going to lose your mind. That's all I'm really going to say about it. And I do think
Is it
that
that
what
good?
Baxter did in this episode was, yes, I. It's really hard for me because just because like I don't know, it's one of those things like because we love Baxter Stockman so much, and you definitely love him so much, and with what he does in the next episode, you're just gonna lose your mind over it. That's all I really got to say about it. It's I do think the next episode is gonna be like a top 10 episode for you. I almost guarantee it. That's how
Really?
good Baxter Stockman's stuff is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of those things like next episode is like really great, like top 10 episode, but then you add Backstory stuff in it, it puts up like top 10 episodes from the entire show. It is just that amazing, and then that's all I really got to say about it. That's I feel that gives you a height for it.
When you say something like that, Teddy, I know it's going to be good because I can hear it in your voice. The excitement just explodes from your voice, and you just. I know it's going to be a good episode by the tone of your voice and just by how much you're trying to explain it to me without spoiling it. That's how I know it's going to be good.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where you know, like the cry incident with 2012, where like, oh god, and we're like, you know, like, oh god, it's like really hard to explain just
You're
because
too
like
excited
I
now, aren't
knew
you?
what was gonna happen. Yeah, no, but I am really excited. But it's one of these problems where no, I must admit, I'm really glad that I'm doing it with you. But at the same time, it's also a problem that I'm doing with you because you've not seen the show, so I can't talk about certain stuff, which is a really big problem because, I mean, this is one of the big instances where I just want to talk about it, but I can't. So, thank you, and also screw you.
Wow. Okay, folks, you heard it here first. All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's one of those big problems where, like, is like, I mean, I think I understand where I'm coming from. Is I want to talk about it, but at the same time, I can't. But like, it's just so good. Oh god. But yeah, what do you think about this episode overall?
Overall, well, overall, this episode was really, really good. It was action packed. It didn't stop. We uncovered some new things that I never even knew existed in the Turtle universe, and now which I know, like the Mystics, for instance. Like those little things are so crazy. But we'll get into that hopefully in later episodes within the series. But yeah, overall, this episode was just a nice. I wouldn't say relaxing as such because we were just thrown in the deep end with this one. We just got action after action. We got we just got so much going on here. And of course, I quickly want to say, like, Han's driving a tank in this episode. I can't believe I didn't bring this up earlier, but I'm bringing it up now. Han's driving a tank, and it destroys half the building, and it's just crazy. Just trying to get the most important bits and to bring it to you guys, the audience, and just to say it to you is very difficult on our end because there's so much to get through, and I feel like we do you guys wrong by not giving it so much to you. Like, sure, you've probably seen all the episodes, but for people like myself who haven't seen it and are watching it as they're going along and trying to portray it to you guys, it's just very, very difficult.
Just wait until we get to next week's episode, and that's when we're gonna have difficulty trying to explain stuff. But yeah, overall, I'd say, but this episode was just great. With just all the little fight scenes which I did were just so unique, really fun, action packed, great pacing as well. I don't think there's anything really bad about this episode. I do think like maybe there's like a little few nitpicks here and there when we do really look into things, such as like the elevator stuff, not executing turtles. But I think overall the episode is just great. So yeah, do you want to read some comments now?
Before we get into the comments real quick, I have one issue with this episode. Besides from the elevator and the electrocution.
Was it the ending?
It's not the ending. It's not the ending. It's just by the amount of elevators. Like, there are too many elevators, I think, in this episode. Sure, they're in a high rise, but I must have counted at least 5, maybe even 6 elevators. Like, the turtles that they used in this episode. Like, how many elevators does this guy need? Like, literally, just use the one. Just use one elevator. Like, there's too many elevators.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's not too big of a problem, I guess. I mean, that'd actually be a nice problem to have, really. But, yeah, okay, so going into the comments, there was surprisingly a lack of comments this week. I'm not too sure why, but I've got a feeling with next week's episode it's going to be a lot different just because of how much people love that episode. So, Jody Moonham, they put epic ending. Yeah, I think you'll agree with that. So Icebot 7, they put, I like the mystic ninja elements. They remind me of Avatar of Lost Airbender. The only difference is they have air instead of wind and metal. The turtles' time in the first elevator remind me of the time in the elevator 1987 episode, The Unknown Ninja. Yeah. The Torgus Ninja 2K3, they put I love it. The 4 Kids Timothy, they put the Shredder clones and the Foot Mystics were very interesting. Now there is a comment that sort of spoiler a version or the 2012 Turtles. Do you mean to read that or not?
You can do.
Well, they put better than the 2012 version. So yeah, I'm not gonna explain anything other than that.
Okay, will do.
So for the trivia, it is the only appearance of the Shredder Elite in the 2003 show. They appeared in the previous episode. Oh no, I've read it wrong. So let me read that again. The only full appearance of the Shredder Elite in the 2003 series. They appeared in the previous episode, but in the shadows and only at the at the very end. Wait, is that correct? I think that Shredder Elite. Oh,
you're having trouble there.
You're talking about the. No, I'm not having trouble here. It's the fact that oh god, Tokopedia has labelled it wrong. They said the Shredder Elites. They meant the Shredder clones because the Shredder Elites are. Hang on, no wait. Never mind. I'm actually thinking of it all wrong. The Shredder Elites are the Shredder clones. I never knew that was called the Shredder Elites. I thought it was called the Shredder clone. Oh. It took me 20 years.
I never knew that either.
That is
took
really
you 20 years, jeez. Wow.
In my defense, I never really look at the trivia just because I already know most of it. Oh, okay. This is an interesting one.
Wow, but this time you didn't.
This is an interesting one, which quite surprised we didn't talk about. Michelangelo does a Tarzan yell as he swings over the hole in the floor. I'm pretty sure you noticed that.
Oh my gosh! Yes! Oh my gosh! I cannot believe I did not bring that up. Like, I was thinking to myself, it's like, I swear we've missed something. But thank you for bringing that up because instead of like him saying cowabunga, he does the Tarzan yell, and of course. I don't know why, it just somehow works for that scene. Like, I was expecting Cowabunga or some crazy Mikey line, but no, he just did the full-on Tarzan yell. So that was an interesting scene.
Okay, so this is the first appearance of Foot Mystics, had a large role in season 4 and 5. There's one mystic for each element, earth, fire, metal, wind, and water. At the very end, Backstockman creates a battle suit, which he uses in the next episode from the remains of the from that that piece of armor he got.
Yeah.
Many fans perceive that Leonardo and previously Donatello should not be able to wear the glove required to wield the sword Tengu due to the turtles only having 3 hands, whereas the glove have 5 hands, or 5 finger things. Yeah, we just don't question that now. When Marco shows
Yeah.
himself across the hole in the floor, they put the same bit in. I don't know really. Okay, so for the cast, I'm pretty sure it's the same as last week's. I'm pretty sure. So we've got Veronica Taylor as April, Scott Williams as Baxter, Mark Thompson as Casey, Sam Riegel as Donatello, Greg Carey as Hun, Michael Sinterklaas as Leonardo, Wayne Grayson as Mikey, Frank Frankson as Raph, Scotty Ray as the Shredder, Darren Dunstan as Splinter, and yeah, so we can't really look into anyone because we've already done them all before.
Have we explored everyone again?
Yeah, and next week's one we've also explored. Well, I'm pretty sure we explored everyone in next week's one. Maybe I'm not sure. I think there might be one we can look into next week. I'm pretty sure. So at least we have someone to look forward to next week. So
Okay then.
yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next bit, which is probably your favorite bit. So we turn to New York
favorite
part
time
3.
of the episode, eh?
Yeah. Okay. So for next week's episode is called Return to New York Part 3, and it's also the final part for this story arc. So what do you think's going to happen in that episode?
Well, from the past 2 episodes, I have been somewhat right or wrong. I can't remember with myself, but I think what's going to happen is the Turtles, they're going to fight the Shredder and Han, and including Baxter Stockman, and it's just going to be an absolute brawl and a half. Literally, everyone's going to be fighting someone. There's going to be no let up with the action and the intensity. Like, I swear everything's going to go to absolute hell, and everything's going to be up in flames by the end of the episode. That's all I can see at the end of this episode. It's just the whole tower, the whole foot tower is just going to be up in flames. The Turtles are going to somehow survive, and Baxter Stockman and the Shredder are probably going to be like crushed or destroyed or badly injured. Something along those lines. But I'm not too sure.
Okay, so yeah, you're on the right tracks. I don't want to say like which parts you are correct about because that could potentially spoil some stuff and all that. But like you're on the right tracks in terms of being correct. So I'll give you half a point because I feel like you're on the right tracks. But like not really there. But now time for your favourite parts.
No.
Okay. I will at least make it easy for you and say it's one for Turtles. And it's not Raph.
Okay. That helps. Right. I've got 2 choices, Leo or Mikey. We had Raph
Could be done
last week and Raph today. Oh yeah, could be done. Oh, but I don't know if you're trying to trick me or not. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say Don, but then I know it's gonna be someone else. I think I'm gonna go with I want to say Leo because it's like a proper full Leo arc right now. Leo's taking his revenge, so I'm not too sure. I'm gonna go Leo.
Answer?
If it's not Leo, then
well done. You finally did it.
oh my god, is it? Oh my god,
it
is. Oh my gosh, I was just proper going into deep thought about this. I'm looking over the episode, the warnings, the signs, and I finally got one. This is like, how long has it been now? Like, it's got to be at least about 4 weeks now.
I think it's been longer than that, actually.
But now I finally got one. Oh, really? Oh, jeez. Then I've finally got it. It's Leo. Okay, that's good. I finally got it. The audience, they can hold up on this and say he's finally done it. He's finally got one.
Yeah. Just watch next week, you get it completely wrong.
Yeah, I just absolutely bugger it up as per usual, and just yeah, it'll just be sod's law at this point.
Yeah, do you think else to say about this episode, or are you sort of like done with this one?
To be honest, mate, I am pretty much done with this episode. I've said what I've needed to say, and yeah, I've got nothing else to say for this one really. I'm just waiting on the next one now.
I think you'll definitely enjoy that one. But yeah, I do think that overall this episode was really great. So much action. Just everything about this was just so great. Like, like like a few exceptions with a few nitpicks here and there. But then again, that's us just being nerds, and we have to complain about something. And with everything that's gonna happen in the next week's episode, I really wish you watched the show now to see if I could talk about it. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for next week. I got a feeling it's definitely going to be a lot, like the episode, like in terms of like, our podcast, is going to be a lot longer, with what we've got to say. But yeah, if you do want to get onto the podcast, you can leave a message on YouTube, Facebook, Reddit. You can leave it on Anchor, either as a text message, or you can leave it as a voice message. And yeah, I've been your host, Teddy.
And I've been Hayden.
And we'll see you all next week. Goodbye, yo, bye.
Bye.